We do record our webinars. So here we are today. Our webinar that we are sharing is Embedding Music into Kindera Living with Sandy Croley. And this is our Learn Hub. And as people know, we offer 8 core programs in our Music Care Learn. And it's really exciting. I want to share a little bit more in a moment, but our conference is quickly approaching. It will be coming up on November the 14th, 2025. And I have to say, it is selling like hotcakes this year. If you haven't got your tickets, make sure that you do register soon. Our numbers, which is a dementia-focused program, are really high right now. So we're pretty excited. And it will be at Metalworks Institute, which is one of the premier recording studios in all of Canada and has recorded and produced for people such as Drake, Celine Dion, and also is owned by Gilmore and of Triumph. So what else do we have coming up? Again, I've talked about our conference. The industry expert will be Jill Barber, who will be closing our conference this year. We also have information on Music in the Mind by Dr. Lee Bartel, an incredible experiential that you don't want to miss that will be hosted by our executive director, Bev Foster, and also Taylor Kurta, who is newly a PhD grad. So she's Dr. Taylor Kurta. And she will be talking about some of her incredible work featuring creativity with those with dementia. And so if you haven't registered, go to musiccareconference.com. Again, our music care training, we always announce when those dates are up and coming. We have a level 1 coming up October 14, 15. We have a level 2 in November 13 and 14, and we have a level 3 coming up in January. However, if there are folks that have taken level 1 and 2 and would like to start their level 3 before that time, you can reach out to T. Albus, to the lovely Tanya at room217.ca. We will intake level 3s before January if you need. I'm just scrolling over to the chat. Excellent. Thank you, Tanya, very much. Wonderful. She has put her information in the chat. And then other upcoming webinars from September to December. And I see one of our presenters in December on the call, Shelley Neal. Thank you for joining us today. Shelley will also be presenting Harp at Bedside in December. We also have a rec therapist talking about music and a glimpse in collaborative practice in music care and rec therapy. That's in November. And Joanne George doing incredible work in dementia care and then if you want to know more about us, please follow us on socials. That's where you'll find out more about our conference and other upcoming updates like webinars and other programming. We are active on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And a little bit more about Sandy. Sandy has become very well known to our community here at Room 217 over the past year or so and really has done outstanding work. Sandy is a trailblazer, an innovator, a creative, as you could see if you watched her social media video up there playing a drum, and she'll talk more about that in her presentation. But Sandy, as Director of Programs and Rehabilitation for Kindera Living, Sandy supports and mentors the rec managers, their teams, and the social service workers across the 12 Kindera Living Care Centers. She oversees a variety of resident-centered programs, including WellBe, Butterfly, QUIS, Quality of Interactive Schedules, obviously Music Care by Room 217 programming through our certification, and Smelling Pink, to name a few. Sandy brings a passion for person-centeredness in all that she does. She believes in looking for new ways to see and treat individuals as individuals with respect, kindness, and thoughtfulness. Always quick with a smile, an infectious laugh, and a fanny pack full of interesting items. Sandy brings many years of long-term care experience to her current role with time spent as an executive director, a rec manager, healthcare aide, and quality lead. She has been honored with a number of awards over the years, including, most recently, the Companion Room 217 Award in 2024. Sandy was born in Hamilton and raised in Grimsby and spent 15 years in British Columbia. When not at work, she has a bucket list of over 200 items that she is working her way through, with 80 items already checked off that list. She's a caregiver to her mother and a devoted corgi mom of two, Melba Toast Windsor and Wallace Potato Simpson. And so it is with great joy that we welcome Sandy today to talk more about the programming and certify at Kindera Living.
Thank you so much. I hope that you don't see Wallace or hear Wallace Potato and Melba Simpson in the background. Okay, gonna share my. So to start off our journey, I thought what I would share is Hawthorne's music care. After our music journey, they put together this video. So I thought we'd start off with this. So that's just some of the fun, exciting things that we're doing now. As you can see, we are no longer passive participants in our music. We're definitely engaged in our music. So a little bit about Kindera Living. We used to be called Responsive Management, but we rebranded to be the Kindera in 2024. We have 12 communities, long-term care with 1 retirement. Pine Villa, which is in Stony Creek, is in redevelopment. And 8 of our communities participated in the 2024-2025 cohort. 1 currently is enrolled in the 2025, and we hope to onboard the last 2 to participate in 2026. Our locations are Windsor, Toronto, Hagersville, Stony Creek, Hamilton, Mississauga, and Burlington, and we serve over 1,550 residents. Why did we choose music care? Well, at the end of the year, we had some extra funding, and I really didn't want to buy another gadget, because sometimes gadgets get put up on the wall or they get bought and then put into a closet. So one of the things that I wanted to do was actually grow our team members but also grow our residents. And so Music Care by Room 217, their philosophy matched with ours because we are on a person-centered journey in which we're doing the butterfly approach, which is emotion-based person-centered care. We ask team members to show up as their authentic selves. Which for some people, I'm a lot of my authentic self, so that can be challenging for some. But we definitely align with the approach to music is intentional use of music by anyone to improve the health and well-being. And you can see that we also have homes to support the well-being of residents. And so that's why we moved forward with Music Care. So, our process and support. We began the journey by having a wonderful Music Care certified lead, Jill, come into our communities and work with our teams. They showed up offering us the an app, the Connect app, which has music, and we downloaded that to all our iPads in our communities. Pathways, conversation cards, and musical collections, which are utilized all the time. We then went into deep dives with the teams, a music care team, and we talked about the struggles in that community. Some communities struggled with mealtime experience, some with the spa experience. Some felt that sleep for the residents would be really important. And in the beginning, I wanted all of our communities to just do um, one project together, but everybody had their own struggle. And so we decided that each community would do their own, and it worked out really well. So some of the things that we started to implement or increase have a more awareness of, our music therapy. Our therapists were being utilized as entertainers, and now we've gone back to our music therapists being music therapists. We introduced sound bowls, we introduced drumming circles. We had symphonies like this Windsor Symphony come to our care community. It became like a great evening event where our residents had a fancy meal, had a little bit of wine. They also wore bow ties. The gentlemen, we made bow ties and they all wore bow ties. It was amazing to have the symphony come in and play for the residents and team members. We've increased our generational programs through music. We've added in laughter therapy. We've started choirs and bell choirs. The list goes on of the opportunities with music that we didn't have prior to joining up with Music Care. We also introduced more technology or started the implementation. We did Google Nest. We added personal radios in resident rooms, iPads, jukeboxes, virtual reality where we can go and see a concert, and the Topher Toffles, which are very engaging and have musical programs. We looked at our environment. We found out through our 24-hour assessment that we are quite noisy, and most of it is unpleasant sounds, squeaky carts, elevators creaking, call bells going off. So we definitely looked at how we could make the sound environment better for the residents that live in our communities. We added music to our spa rooms to add that personal touch of making it feel like truly a spa experience while they're having a bath or a shower. We added the Google Nest to our dining rooms, which has made it more pleasurable, and in rooms for residents with late stage dementia. We also took our instruments, dusted them off that were in closets, and put them out for people to play. Some of our instruments even are on walls. We also went to every individual resident, and we got their soundtrack of life. And this resident is one of my favorite examples. Um, so if we look at one of her favorite songs is The White Cliffs of Dover by Vera Lynn, and it reminds her of her childhood during the war, where her brother also had to give up his room for Canadian soldiers. Underneath the spreading chestnut tree, she won a dance contest when she was 10 years old, and she won a giant box of chocolates. So when you put those two songs together, you actually get a really good picture of what Vera's childhood looked like. She was in Europe during the war. She also won some chocolates, which you think, oh, big deal. It was a big deal during the war because sugar was rationed at the time. And so they didn't have chocolate. So to receive that chocolate, huge. When I went to this community recently, I did meet up with this resident, and it was wonderful to actually talk to her about her soundtrack of life. And she just lit right up when we started talking about all these wonderful things. So, part of our ongoing process with the residents in our communities is that everyone has a soundtrack of life. What we do with the soundtrack of life, especially for those people in late stage dementia, we upload their music onto either an iPad or we use a USB stick and plug it into the radios, and we can play their soundtrack of life to give them some comfort. So, our journey, key successes that we had. Well, we used WhatsApp for group discussions. So when we were going through the process of becoming certified, we had many questions. And people would come together on the WhatsApp and they would problem solve together, sharing that information back and forth. We'd also share wonderful entertainers such as the Sound Bowl player, but it was definitely moral support for one another. That was something that each of the site leads did on a regular was connect on WhatsApp. We often did have to shift and pivot. I provided 3 education sessions for all our communities, and I prefer to do them on site in person. However, with outbreaks during the fall season, I was unable to do the neuroscience music. So those in services were done virtually. And so then when I went on site the next time, I could revisit those education sessions to see that they were being rolled out. So that shift and pivot was really something that we're getting really good at in long-term care. Of course, I'm going to do another shout out to Jill, our music certified facilitator. This role was critical to keep the sites on track. We felt very supported. She clarified and answered questions. She was 100% available Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I would say even more so, but we'll try not to overburden her with the Saturday cry outs to help us. But she was a big part of our success in how we did in our certified. Room 217, in the beginning, they came on site. So they would do a tour, they would work with the music care group, and it was such a great working relationship with the site team and the facilitator. It really did help bridge a connection and provided that person-centered touch as well. The music care training was amazing for our team members. Many of them, it was their first time that they did virtual training and they loved it. And research was a very new thing for most of our recreation people. And so that was exciting, but also frightening for them. The portal that is provided by Music Care is outstanding. I have done many rollouts and many projects, and this portal is so user friendly and it just helps you keep on your timeline, but it also specifically has you upload specific items such as your 24-hour environmental sound assessment. You know you have to do it, you get it done, you upload it to the portal, and it tells you that that piece is completed. in the music care program, you can become certified bronze, silver, or gold. And it actually keeps track of how many more points you need in order to reach the silver level, the gold level. So that was really nice too to see where we were at with our uploading of information. The coordination between myself, music care, and the site leads was very essential for our success. And they were very open to me having access to the portals for all our communities so that I could go in and often check to see that people were on track. And then if they weren't, I could go and be the cheerleader to get them going a little bit further and to upload some more items. We also had a drop-in virtual Friday music care group. So they came together, it was optional, and anyone who did drop into that group actually was more successful. So we encouraged everyone to continue to get on those virtual calls to discuss like, well, how did you do with this, this question? What did you put for, your team the budget? So it was a very good working group, and it was self-directed by the music care leads. And of course, we constantly chatted about music all the time in every recreation moment that we could have. But we also shared that with our support office. In the end, when we did our videos for music care on our case studies, we presented each case study to our support team. So over 100 people were able to see the work that these music care projects had been successful with. Our challenges, the buy-in at the beginning was a little bit hard. A lot of people said, we don't have time for this. This is a lot. But the more that they did and the more they got done, they could see the difference and the impact that was happening for the residents and the team members. They saw that 5 minutes of music before personal care actually saved them 15 to 20 minutes when expressions were happening. So we decreased a lot of, most people call them responsive behaviors. We call them expressions, for lack of a better word. Time for our teams to gather to work on the certification. Very hard to get groups together and take them off the home area, away from the residents. But we did have supportive executive directors who believed in the value of this program, and then that helped ease the challenge. It was more or less we had to voice that we needed time to complete the certification, and then the executive directors were on board and had no problem with that. And when the teams got together, they worked phenomenal. They just kind of connected, and one person would say one thing, the other would connect, and then they go, what about this? So it was a great time for team building for many people. And research was a challenge because few of us have had research experience. And so the driver for five was particularly challenging because we had to look for tools, and we had to look for how we could analyze it, how we could capture the moments, because most of the time in recreation, it's kind of like a feel-good moment, but this was concrete data that we would be collecting. One of the things I wanted to highlight was the Music Care Conference. This was very huge for a lot of our team members, and the reason why it was huge was that we sent housekeepers, PSWs, RNs, recreation, behavior supports Ontario, rec managers, butterfly leads to this conference because it's reasonable. And I don't even want to say this out loud to them, but it's so reasonably priced compared to other conferences that we were able to send around 30 people to the conference. This was such a huge excitement for many of these people because this was their first conference that they've ever gone to. There's not an awful lot out there for, let's say, a PSW or a rec aid to go uh, and see, to learn at a conference. And so for many, it was their first time and they were beyond excited about it. I'm going to show you a video. This was at the very tail end of the conference. Um, the performer was singing, and she said she would sing until everybody had left the conference room. Unfortunately, our people were so excited that they didn't want to leave. And so you'll see the empty seats all around them. Trust me, they were full about 5 minutes before that, but they enjoyed this conference so much that they didn't want to leave. So here's the pure joy at the conference for two of our team members. In his hands, he's got the whole wide world. In his hands, he's got the whole wide world. In his hands, he's got the whole world in his. I'm not making a mistake with you. So as you can see, she stated, I won't go until everybody is gone. And so they continued to linger. Our outcomes and our impacts. We are now researchers. And the quote that I hear most from our team members who participated in the music care program is, we are confident in music now. They weren't comfortable. They would come in, they would put on music, and then they just kind of have it as a background. Now they know to put on specific music for each individual. It's not just kind of like a background. Music has become a forefront for all of us. We've made a positive impact on the residents and the team members' lives. And this is our meeting at support office. We now always have music at our meetings, and these are the boom whackers, and we are just grooving with the boom whackers. Here's our case studies, and you can find this report actually on the website, Music Care by Room 217. It was a collaborative report, but Dundurn Center in Hamilton, their challenge was expressive behaviors during personal care. The solution was using resident preferred music, so that soundtrack of life reduced expressive behaviors during personal care by 78%. So what Dundurn did was they taught their PSWs to sing or hum specific songs that the resident liked, and actually that was a reduction in expressions during personal care. Huge initiative, and they did fantastic. Arbor Creek, also in the Hamilton area, Stony Creek, engaged socially isolated residents, and their solution was resident engagement increased by 18% for socially isolated residents by providing one-to-one music care visits. So we had done a fantastic job during COVID of training people to stay in their room. And now that, there's been a reduction in COVID cases, trying to have people come out of their rooms is quite challenging because we've trained people so well. So having the music therapist go to see those residents and encourage them to come out of their rooms and join other programs. So sorry, everyone. To have other programs, now they come out not just for musical programs, but other ones. And our music therapist hours increased at Arbor, and that's specifically what they worked on. Anson Place, they worked on the dining experience. Using residents' personalized playlist, resident appetite increased by 19%. I'm still looking for the one that decreases appetite, but say no more. This presentation isn't about myself. So what we find is that as people enter into middle and late stage dementia, they do not have the same appetite and they are at risk for not getting in the calories that they need and not the proper nutrition. So, therefore, appetite is huge. And we always want to have food first. So, increasing that by almost 20% is quite amazing. Wellington Park, they improve the resident experience by offering musical offerings, and they increased it by 128%, which actually made residents so much happier. Banwell Gardens, actually, that's in Windsor. They help team members process grief, which we realized was a huge, huge issue after COVID, to get team members to lean in again to their compassion because during COVID, sometimes to protect themselves, they leaned out. But we have to help them to feel safe and to have that emotional connection. So residents self-selected their honor walk song. So what an honor walk song is, after they pass away, a song is played over the PA, and team members and residents will come and line up. A dignity quilt is placed over the resident, and their song is played as they leave out the front door, because they come in the front door, they leave out the front door, but they actually get to have the song that they want played. And this actually helped the team members process their grief when a resident passed away by 86%, which is phenomenal. And I'm telling you, the songs, they like go from like, you know, AC/DC to Amazing Grace to like Wayne Newton, you name it, the sky's the limit. Hawthorne Place, we looked at resident sleep quality. Using music at bedtime, 15 minutes prior to bed, sleep time increased by 20% and sleep quality by 33%. I don't know if you've ever had a poor night's sleep, but your emotions run high. You're kind of not as cognitive as you'd like to be. You're not as sharp. And for our residents, that actually increases their likelihood of falling. So sleep is huge, and the fact that we could do that is amazing. Eatonville also looked at the dining experience, and they used the Music Care Connection app, Connect app, and played at the dining, and it stimulated appetite in 50% of the residents. So those are success stories. Cooksville is coming up next, which is in Mississauga, and they have a wonderful drumming circle facilitator there who is looking at, again, that social isolation of residents and encouraging that engagement. And we will soon have their results in the next 2 weeks for their case study. Here's what our case studies look like. Look so beautiful when they're done. Lovely, their preferred music. This is another shift and pivot. They started with classical music, and they found out the residents didn't like the classical music. So they went with selections determined by the next day they'll play Frank Sinatra, and it actually improved that appetite. Down in the corner on the left, you can see their surveys that they did were a happy face, a neutral face, and a sad face. And this was after their mealtime experience. The residents would either say happy, neutral, or sad about the musical choice. So really cool case study. The next case study is that Banwell. And of course, it's that honor walk, which was incredible. And a lot of people don't want to talk about death and dying for Benwell, they felt this was a huge opportunity to talk to the residents because this could be one of their last choices that they make for themselves. So it's really honoring that individual. So kudos to them for taking on this really hard topic, but it's very empowering. Dundurn. This was the care with the expressions. And what can I say? This is like groundbreaking for most people because I wrote here up in the corner, I knew deep down inside that singing during care was beneficial to the well being of people living in long term care. But now to have solid proof and data from Dundurn, which supports it, is truly heartwarming and will change care practices in our community, which it has. Hawthorne, that sleep. We utilized Apple Watches to get our data. We now have different data, but I think actually our results might have been higher than what we've recorded because we weren't very proficient with the Apple Watches. But we are looking at replicating this again to see if we can get better results, but still wonderful results. And a resident wrote, the music soothes the nerves and my body. I felt it calm me down when I was listening to it and my eyes closed, which is amazing. Okay, here's one of our videos. This is Wellington, and so I hope you enjoy their M-Carp. I just love the smile at the end. Oops, the smile at the end is priceless. A couple of points about that video. They did acquire at Christmas time with the residents, and they have a piano player who is a resident there who is 100 years old, who actually played the piano for them. Wellbe is our system where we document attendance. And the lyrics and legacy, what that program involves is looking at someone's life and their story and then putting it into a song. And so that's a new program that was developed by Wellington. One of the things that we do now is music is embedded into our meetings as not just for the residents, but for our team members. So this was at support office. We did a drum circle and we had a great time at it. Many of our team members have picked up old instruments that they once played and kind of revisited them, and others picked up new instruments. And one of the things I did was pick up the drum. Our final result was all of our communities received gold certification, which was amazing. So we're very proud of that. We celebrated at support office, and you can see everybody with their gold certified plaque. So very exciting with Bev and Jill there to help celebrate with us. So now we go into kind of what Music Care brought to me, which I didn't realize how much it would, I want to say, impact my life. But now any vacation I take must involve music. So up there in the top corner is Ireland, of course, looks like Ireland. Down in the lower is a nightclub that I went to in Norway. And then this was one of my favorites. This is a gentleman from the Sami culture in Norway, and he is singing about his grandmother.
Did you see my grandma?
I love that at the end. He goes, "Did you see my grandmother?" And then he had us sing it, and we were quite horrible at it, but it was wonderful. A great experience. I also just recently purchased my membership at the Ontario First Performance Arts Center in St. Catharines so that I can go see musical performances from different cultures, countries, and some of the old, great, wonderful people from the past as well. So that's really exciting for me that this journey has brought some personal things out for me. Oops. We wanted to sing some more for us. One of the best things that it did, though, was push me on my bucket list to complete making my own hand drum. And I have to tell you, I wasn't expecting when I arrived to make the hand drum. I had to cut animal hide. I wasn't quite sure how I felt about that. And then I had to weave it. As you can see in the top left-hand corner, my one friend is having a delightful time doing it, and you can see me all red-faced because I wasn't quite enjoying it. But in the end, I love my drums, and I travel everywhere with my drums now. They're always in my vehicle so that I can play them at any point in time. So making my drum, and I have to tell you, I did it in Quebec, and my French is very rusty. So I'm surprised that the drums are still holding together. I made a hand drum but also made an ocean drum, which is the blue one down in the left-hand corner. I then decided I've made these drums. Now what do? I don't know really how to play them. So I went off to Calgary and I learned how to become a hand drum facilitator. And I take my drums to work with me and I play them for, I would say, um, team members and residents, and people will grab the drum and they will play it any which way. This lady down in the corner is a PSW, and she said, in our culture, we play with our hand. And I said, go to town and play with your hand then. I also went really out of my comfort zone and became a neurologic music care ally. And this video is my mom, and she's playing my drum. She has a flat affect because of her Parkinson's, but trust me, she enjoyed it. And finally, the next steps for the future of Kindera. Music in healing physical wounds. We want to do a move and groove program in which we move and groove, and that helps like off lift pressure on your butt, which is helpful for those in wheelchairs. We want to do massage AM and PM care with music or humming. We want to add virtual reality as a distraction when doing wound procedures, debriding wounds, which can be very painful, but playing music and sending them off to a concert to distract them. And of course, utilizing music that actually heals on the cellular level. All of our leads will be doing the individual certification, and we're going to build a music care manual which highlights how everybody did their case study, and where they could improve on their case study. And then if somebody is like, oh, I'd like to work with music and sleep, they can go to that manual and be able to replicate that project. And lastly, my future involves a unity drumming. And so this is a big full body drum, and there's all sorts of information here on how that helps you with your vibrational, physical, emotional, and spiritual. But the one I liked was mental, because it's going to improve my concentration skills and calm my mental activity, which will really help me in the end. So I want to thank everyone for definitely listening to me today, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And I think if you have any questions, please feel free.
Yeah, thank you, Sandy. I'm going to jump in. There was a question that came up by Nadia, and it says, how do you measure resident experience to see how much was improved? Interviews, surveys, and I know you did touch on that a little bit, but maybe you could touch on overall just the evaluation phase or part of the MCARPS.
Yeah, so part of it was, we would ask residents, did you enjoy that? Because they're quite honest. If they don't enjoy it, they're going to write sad face and exit, engaged in the program. And that's part of our attendance that we take within our WellBe system.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we could tell.
And I guess too, we can say for as part of the Certified Organizations program, you are, just so that folks know that might be interested in the program, is you do get scheduled time with our research lead if you want to access that. So the music care facilitator, who in this case was Jill, worked through Sandy and her team, and also was able to access Chelsea, who is our research lead, as needed. Great. I think we froze there just for a moment
We
there,
did.
Sandy.
We
Yeah.
froze a little bit. Sorry. I said, I hope I don't freeze because it's always in this position.
Yeah.
So, um,
I
but
have it
yeah,
all on video, Sandy.
thank you kindly. Me tearing up with my mom playing my drum. Um, it was such, yeah, it's been such a great experience, and we're learning how to be better researchers each and every day with every single MCARP that we do, and
Mhm.
modifying some of the tools that are out there, but modifying them to fit with our resident population was really quite exciting too. Like we did like a loneliness it's a loneliness survey that we did
Mhm.
for the drum circle for some of the residents, and it's so amazing to see residents who don't go to anything. Like we can't even get them out for the ice cream truck. Like that says a lot. We can't get them out to have ice cream even, and for
Mm.
them to come and play a drum. And I'm seeing them even improve with beats with the drum,
Mhm.
like going softer and louder when we do a response, a call and response. So I'll go ba ba ba. They go ba 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 on the drum back. They're getting
Mhm.
better every time that we meet. And we've only had 4 sessions so far. So it's quite exciting.
And I'll just also say for those on the call here, just to reiterate that the way that rhythm and percussion works in community context, as you described, but at our upcoming conference on November 14th, there is a workshop. Actually, there's two. One is by Drummond, a group, and they're going to look at the use of rhythm, kind of like what you've been talking about. So for anybody on the call here, there is a rhythm and drumming designated workshop at our conference on the 14th, as well as there's a second presentation which connects to movement. So I just wanted to say you've done a lot of great showcasing of how drumming and rhythm worked in your context. And for anybody interested in experiencing that themselves, our conference will have two workshops designated to that.
And FYI, I have zero rhythm. So anyone can do this. I'm telling you, anyone.
Yeah.
If
Thank
I can do it, you can do it.
and thanks for that. And I want to just say too, as we finish up, we've got a few minutes. Please put questions or just jump in and ask. But we always get asked about funding, and I know for long-term care specifically, you had sent me something earlier today, Sandy, from the Ontario Health website. And so I don't know if you just wanted to highlight that maybe.
Yeah, so there is funding that is out there right now. It's priority funding from the government. It's the health authorities, or what are they called? The health hubs that are out there.
Yes.
They are looking for ways that we can help with the dementia, um, initiatives that are out there. And so this is a prime example of where you could tap into that funding for, we're putting in for the virtual reality, because some of our communities don't have it. And it's a great tool for, that distraction while they're having wound care, but for other things as well. And we also put in for music care for our other two sites that we're hoping get funded for 2026. So, look for those funding opportunities. I know New Horizons is out there as well, and they look for these sorts of things to invest in. Well worth it too.
Excellent. And we're getting lots of comments about, how wonderful your presentation was, Sandy. It really, really was. And okay, there's one question here. What were the soundtrack of life questions that you asked? She didn't get the last, or yeah, we didn't get the last one. Do you remember? The soundtrack.
It's quite simple. It's just what's your favorite song?
Mhm.
Who's the artist? Because it could be a different artist, right? You definitely, 9 to 5 with Dolly Parton, like there's a Pitbull one out there, totally different. And then I love them both though, FYI. And
Yeah.
we asked them why.
Mhm.
Why is this song important to you?
Mhm.
And so we did have to tap into some families. And if they didn't have family and they weren't able to um, what they like, we actually just started playing music. And we would tap into like looking at their expression. And trust me, if you don't like a song, your face goes like this. But if you like it, like you start moving and swaying, right? So then we'd start, playing other songs and see how they would react to it. So that
Mhm.
became part of how we could decide whether someone liked a song or not, and watch them during entertainers too to see the
Mhm.
reactions as well.
Mhm. Wonderful. Well, the number one I can say thank you from everyone here on the call, but really, I think we know through research and through Certified for Organization that the number one driver is leadership. And I can't think of a single other more inspiring and invested leader than what you've provided. It's absolutely inspiring, Sandy. And I know you don't like being put on the spot that way, but to see all the learning that you did in your own journey with the NMT and the drumming and even like embracing music in your personal life, it's very, very inspiring. So from everyone here, yes, we're applauding you and we can't wait to hear more. I can't wait to hear more about the wound care stuff coming up through the learning in your recertification. So
We're excited. Thank
yes.
you, everyone.
And for those, I know they were asking in the chat just before we go, yes, we will be posting this webinar up for you to share with others, or if you have hints or tips. And as always, T. Albus at room217.ca, Tanya can help you if you need help in documenting that, or you want to book a discovery call for Certify for yourselves. And we hope to see you all at our conference. Take care, and I'll see you next month. Okay.
Bye, everyone.